Because if you're around people all the time and you can never actually be yourself, if you can't be vulnerable, if you can't be authentic, if you can't be truthful, if you can't be you, then it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable relationship for you to be in.
But I do think that there's a social construct, positioning, energetic thing going on with all of us where it's very difficult to ignite yourself at a level 10 around other people that are not passionate about that thing at level 10.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode number 1273. This is what's controlling how you feel. It'd be nice if I could read the intro. Today, for episode number 1274, where can you be the most you? So just for the audience, Alan is a little giggly today.
In a giggly mood.
He is cracking under the pressure of life, so we're going to support him in his crack, and everything's going to be fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well said.
Yeah. Supporting in the crack. Yes. Perfect. So at this point, Jeff, we're going to power right through. You and I. We got this. We're professionals.
We got this.
We're professionals. At this point, you have done what, 4,000 coaching calls?
Mm-hmm. Almost.
I got to think I'm probably at like 1,000, right? I'm nowhere close to you because you do so much more than I have. You can probably speak to this. Honestly, you can probably speak to this at a deeper level than I. I did a coaching call recently with somebody who I usually coach alone. In this scenario, and there's no judgment here. This is not right. This is not wrong. This is just for the purpose of understanding and awareness. Usually this person is by themselves. And when I coach them, I don't know, they're just more open, more receptive. I don't want to say more humble, but energetically just more open to feedback. And recently they were traveling with someone and the call was completely different. They were in the car with somebody and just the energy was different. Not bad, not negative. It was just different. And it made me think, oh, interesting. Can this person be their full, true, authentic self? Can they be the most them around these people? And you and I talked about that. And we're like, we should really do an episode on this because how many people are surrounding themselves with people who they can't actually be themselves around? One of the things I put this post in Next Level Nation a long time ago. The only way to find your people is to be yourself. And the only real way to have truly aligned, fulfilling relationships is to figure out where can you actually be you. Because if you're around people all the time and you can never actually be yourself, if you can't be vulnerable, if you can't be authentic, if you can't be truthful, if you can't be you, then it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable relationship for you to be in. Now, again, the example I'm using is from a client, but I've seen this time and time again where I will hang out with somebody or I'll meet somebody somewhere and they're by themselves, but they are drastically different around their families. That happens all the time because many people can't be themselves. They can't be the full authentic versions of them around their family. So we thought we'd do an episode on it because I think this is something pretty heavy for our community and something that most people probably struggle with.
This is a thing. It's not a Kevin thing, and I've been saying that a lot lately. It's not, if you're out there watching or listening, you're not alone in this. And people say, oh, well, just be yourself. Just be authentic. Just be yourself. It's actually really, really, really difficult. What does that even mean, first of all? Because we have all these different parts of us. We have all these different nuances to our personality. Sometimes I'm really fun and funny, like on the beginning of this episode, very giggly. Other times I'm very serious and very achievement-oriented. Other times I'm very relaxed, right? So we have all these different parts of us, and different people bring out different parts of us. Different contexts also bring out different parts of us. So I have a story about a client that is extremely high achieving. She has very, very high financial goals. She does real estate. She's amazing. And this was at the tail end of 2022. We were doing a call and she's like, yeah, I bought these tickets to Country Fest like 2 years ago. And I don't know how or why. Maybe it was a year ago. But I was like, well, you've evolved a lot in a year. And so my brain immediately did this calculation, and my brain essentially said this to me. Ooh, she's evolved a ton in a year. The people she's going with and that country concert is going to be very, very different than the version of her now. Now, that doesn't mean she can't have fun. So I told her this. I said, I have a homework assignment for you. When you go to the country concert, I want you to check in with how much of yourself you can be in terms of this version. 0 to 10 in this coaching, how much can you be yourself? She's like 10. I said, okay, great, awesome, good. You believe in yourself a ton. You have these huge goals. You're incredible. I want to see how much of that you can dial up at Country Fest. So fast forward. We meet with this person bi-weekly. She goes to Country Fest. Comes back, I ask her, so how'd it go? And she's like, well, I had fun. I had fun. And I was like, okay, so truth dial. So picture like at a stove, 0 to 10. 10 is the hottest, the most you, in this case, the brightest. Where was your truth dial at? Where were you in terms of yourself? How much of yourself were you? And she's like, well, honestly, I kind of sunk into the background. I didn't really drink that much. Everyone else pre-gamed earlier. They tailgated is what I think it's called. And I kind of left early. And I had fun, but I was kind of reserved. And I was like 0 to 10. She's like, like a 4, maybe like a 4. I was like, okay. She's like, but I had fun. I'm glad I went. I was like, okay, cool. Fast forward. This person was in this mastermind group, very expensive, awesome mastermind group, which I encouraged her to do. And it was ending. And she was kind of like concerned, like, I'm not going to be around these people anymore. I don't want to revert to my old tendencies. Like, I need something else. So she ends up going to this community builders program, and it's a way. It's like a retreat. Same homework assignment. Because she's like concerned. She's like, I'm going to be way in over my head. I'm going to be out of my league. Kind of like you before Podfest, Kev. She was feeling the feels of like, I'm going to be like the least achievement oriented in the room. I'm not going to believe in myself. These are people in their late 30s, early 40s. They're way ahead of me. They have big, successful podcasts, and they're these really world-renowned speakers and trainers and stuff like that. I was like, first of all, you're going to do great. You're going to get there, and you're going to realize you're actually farther ahead than you thought. And on top of that, you actually do well as the small fish. Where you don't do well is when you're the big fish. That's when you shrink. This is actually going to ignite you. You're going to come back being more of you, I think. So here's your homework assignment. Go there and let me know how much truth, what's the truth dial at? Like, gauge, just what's it like? Are they dialing you up or down, right? She comes back and she's like, first of all, the travel sucked. My plane got canceled, blah, blah, blah. But the event was unbelievable. I met these incredible people. And she was like 10. And so I already knew all this because I fortunately have coached so many people. This is not a her thing. This is not a Kevin thing. This is not an Alan thing. This is a thing. And if you can only be yourself at level 4 in a certain environment, you can only ever expect level 4 goals. You can only ever expect level 4 fulfillment. So yeah, you can have fun at a country concert, but for her, she's outgrown a lot of that stuff. It doesn't mean you can't go to country concerts. It means that the people that you went with are not going to talk to you about your $100 million net worth goal. They're not going to talk to you about changing the world. They're not going to talk to you about self-improvement or personal development. And that doesn't mean you can't go. It just means you have to go with the understanding that you're going to probably slink into the background. You're going to probably have fun and dance, but not maybe party as hard. You know, and there were times in my life where I partied hard and I wasn't as into self-improvement, and that stuff made more sense to me. And now I just know that it wouldn't. And so for anyone out there watching or listening to this, hopefully you are surrounding yourself with people consistently and sustainably who ignite your greatness, whatever that is. If you're an artist, hopefully you can be your artsy self. If you're into self-improvement, hopefully you can be your self-improvement oriented self. If you're an athlete and you love working out, hopefully you surround yourself with other athletes that inspire you, and or all of the above. But I do think that there's a social construct positioning energetic thing going on with all of us where it's very difficult to ignite yourself at a level 10 around other people that are not passionate about that thing at level 10 and or are insecure even about the fact that they're not ignited in that specific way. So, you know, for you, what's your Country Fest versus the Community Builders Retreat? Maybe for you, Country Fest is where you feel the most you. I don't know, and I'm not making that wrong. What I do know is that a lot of us are in a whole lot of places where we can't be our full selves.
We talked
I've been
about
very guilty of that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I didn't know. Usually I'm like really good when you're done, but I thought you were done, but I don't think you were.
I thought I was done too.
Okay, good. So I was correct, but we were both incorrect at the same time. You and I went fishing one day, and there was a barbecue at the place that we went fishing, and we were talking about how I'm very comfortable in those situations. At this point, I don't know. It's weird for me. I don't know if maybe I'm just lying to myself. I don't think so. But I feel as comfortable at a barbecue having a beer than I do here. Like, I feel very, very comfortable in both.
Well, you have a lot of years.
Not really. No, not really.
Which one do you feel more you?
I feel like I can express more here.
So you feel more you here?
Yeah, but no, it's not like I mean, it is a fairly drastic, but I still feel comfortable. I feel comfortable turning it off. You know what I mean?
I think that over time that will get harder. Maybe not to the extent that I feel.
It is for you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think it will get harder. Over time. I think that's what growth is. The old world, you can still go back and enjoy it. You and I went fishing, and it was where I grew up, and I enjoyed that thoroughly. Huh?
Several years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Because it was Father's Day.
Yeah, Father's Day 2021. Yeah, Father's Day 2021. And I still enjoyed that. I did. It's just harder for me to be that version of myself because I'm trying to refigure out. You know what I mean? Whereas when we interviewed Stephen Kotler, it was all about neuroscience, which I'm passionate about, and peak performance. So I think all relationships are built on common core values.
Yeah.
And you and I can talk on this microphone 1,274 times because we're this passionate about going deep and having deep conversations about life and about health, wealth, and love. I mean, how many other people could you actually talk to that many times?
I can't imagine many.
Right. And so hopefully we feel like we can be ourselves with each other more than with others. I would say for me, and I just got off the phone with a client and I asked her, who can you be yourself the most with? She said, my boyfriend. I said, who's after that? She said, you. I said, who's after that? She said, my business partner. I said, well, that's good. Right? I said, okay, who's after that? She's like, no one's close. After that, the next closest to those 10s and 9s is 5, my brother. And it's like, that's okay. Honestly, I think if everyone was honest with themselves, that's kind of the way it is for most people.
Yeah.
No one's going to fit in 10 out of 10 with everyone. That doesn't make any sense. We're all very, very unique.
That's very interesting.
And I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience of Next Level Live in 2022. I've been to a lot of live events before, and there's nothing quite like this group of people in this community that these guys have cultivated. The intimate feeling that you get in the group. Yes, there's a lot of people, but there's not so many people that it's overwhelming. I actually attended this event completely by myself last year, but I also felt right at home when I got into the room. If you've been following these guys on the podcast and you do their monthly meetups and things like that, I have to say there is nothing quite like actually getting in the room and being surrounded by the energy that these guys bring to the table. So if you are on the fence about attending Next Level Live 2023, I highly encourage you to do so. You are going to get so much out of the experience, and you are going to be so, so grateful that you did.
This is an interesting episode for me because I don't know.
Go ahead. What's your vulnerable
I'm
truth?
just it's a thought-provoking episode for me because I think there's some places I just don't expect to be the most me. Like around my family, like I'm a different version of Kev because my family doesn't understand. Not that they don't support it, but they don't understand this.
But here's the thing. If you spent 3 weeks there, what would that be like for you? Because here's why maybe this isn't such a problem for you. I think that a couple things. One, I wonder if other people have huge expectations on you. Probably not. From what I've expected, it seems like you've done a really good job at kind of making it clear, like, not to expect a ton from you. Not in a negative way.
You know, it's like, if I'm going to do something, there's also going to be some layer of like, I need to also do something for me.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And the other piece of this too, Kev, is you are very good at not overpouring. So for example, think of someone who, okay, that barbecue, you were totally comfortable being there, but dude, you wanted to leave. You wanted to leave and you left pretty quickly. So now imagine someone for a second, just so we can help you empathize a little bit, someone who like is afraid to leave because they don't want to break rapport. Now they stay and they stay not themselves. So the reason why you feel comfortable there is because you're very good at like allocating the right amount of time. And so, but if you were there for a week, you would lose yourself completely, Kev. And that's where a lot of people are, I think. That's definitely where I was. Dude, I talk about the time in my life when I was really, really deeply unfulfilled in college. And I talk about how someone came to me and essentially said I was the most popular person on campus, and how that sounded like a compliment at the time, and I was pleased that he had said that. But then I thought about it later on, and now in hindsight, it wasn't a compliment. It was I lost myself because I was everything for everyone. And I think that for you, you don't really lose yourself in the overpouring of others. I think you're good at breaking rapport and being like, I'm leaving now. Whereas most people aren't good at that, Kev. Like, that's why the holidays are so toxic for people, because they feel like they're always being guilt tripped and like they're supposed to be X, Y, Z. And so this is definitely something that you don't struggle with as much as other people. And I don't know why necessarily. I think it's
because I'm stubborn.
I think that's certainly part of it.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. We were talking about, it's interesting. We were talking yesterday about me getting a new car. And you're like, you should really lease a car. And I was like, I do not want to lease a car. And you're like, why not? I was like, what if I want to drive more than the 10,000 miles they give me? And you were going through the math. And it's like, I don't care. I have the freedom. I want the freedom. I value freedom above anything on the planet. So
that's what it is.
I don't like when people, the conditional love cycle that we talked about Friday, episode 1271, I don't do well in those, especially now as somebody who's like aware of what that all means. I do not do like threatening me, guilt tripping me. Like, that doesn't work well. 'Cause it's almost like, okay, I just won't come. I don't want to come in. It's like, you're actually making the decision easier for me, believe it or not. I know you think this is going to work, but this actually makes it a little easier for me to say no.
I think that's very rare.
Well,
it's very rare.
That's very good to know. Again,
and so Kev, last question. I know we got to jump. At the barbecue, 0 to 10, how much could you be your full self?
That's the question that gets me, because it depends. Dude, there's a side of Kevin that can go get hammered and make friends with everybody.
Of course. That's a part of Kevin, but that's not the whole part.
Yeah,
it's not the biggest part.
No, it's not the biggest part.
If it was, you chose an interesting career.
Yeah, I chose the wrong career. Yeah. I don't know. I always say, like, I do feel like a chameleon. I feel like I can fit in anywhere. I really do. I don't know.
I used to say that too.
I don't know.
I used to say that too.
But to your point, it's not for a long period of time. This is like for
was there
a
ever
night.
a time where you felt like, I guess, when did you least feel like yourself? Like, there had to be some toxic relationship or something where you like lost yourself.
I definitely lost myself in my early relationships because I was so afraid to be alone that I would sabotage my own friendships by like just staying. I can't. No, I'd love to come hang out Friday, but my girlfriend and I have plans. Even though we didn't, I just was afraid to leave. I had that.
So 0 to 10, how full authentic self were you with that partner?
Oh, 5 maybe.
Okay. That's all this episode is about, really, is Okay, now who's someone that you can be fully you with?
Oh, you.
Quirky, funny, whatever.
You, Taryn. The people I surround myself with now. I think that's kind of it for me is like, if I talk to you often, I talk to you often because I can be myself around you. Right. That's kind of how it's set up for me, where then from there, there's like another ring of like, I can be 80% myself. It's like, okay, that's the place I'm going to visit next.
Yep.
The place where I can be the least myself is the place that probably won't get any attention.
And so this is the idea. I know we got to go. It's almost like that 80% ring. You can only spend a certain amount of time there before you lose yourself. And so to the story originally circle back with this client, at Country Fest, she was at the 40% ring. I can only be 40%. And maybe that 40% does love country music and does love to party, and that's all fine. But the 60% of her that is achievement oriented and personal development, like that's not the context to bring that out. And I never used to understand this. I used to try to bring self-improvement into every conversation. I still do. I mean, goals, dreams, and that's why I spent my whole life thinking everyone had huge goals and dreams, when in reality, I think in some ways I was igniting the part of them that does, even though that's not maybe the main part that normally drives. And I didn't know any of this back then. So, but anyways, if you're out there listening, the question I want you to ask yourself is, who can you be the most you with? Where are you level 10 you? And if the answer is only when I'm alone, I would say that it's time to set some boundaries and maybe find some people that have some mutual aligned core passions and values.
And another great question is, who are you? That's a really great question. Like when you are by yourself, who are you? When you're all alone and you can think whatever you want, you can talk about whatever you want, you can surround yourself with whatever you want. Who are you? I think that's another great question. Because maybe for a long time, I don't know if I actually knew who I was. I don't know if I think I do now more than ever, but I don't know. Some days it's like I'm a self-improvement guy, but I also like to party. But not really, not party, but like I want to watch. So Taryn's dad, or I can say my father-in-law now, he came over and watched UFC. He watched UFC with me on Saturday. It was awesome. And like, I felt like myself there, but it's like a different part of Kev. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting episode for me. Very interesting. I dig it. So that would be my question. That would be
an overwhelming question. Is who are you? It's like,
yeah, no, it's very
that's the esoteric question.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the answer to that, the only wrong answer is to stop searching.
Yeah, nobody knows the answer.
Nobody knows.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I don't think Alan knows. Maybe Alan does, probably more than I. I don't know.
I have
never
more
met
clarity than I
does.
used to, for sure, but not. I don't know for sure. You know, I'm still searching too. Yeah,
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Next Level Nation, as you have heard me mention many times, April 1st, 2023, a live event in Worcester, Mass, with Alan, myself, you, and 49 other amazing human beings. We have a photo booth. We're going to have food. It's going to be a blast. We'll have good music, good lessons, good identity shifts, and a good experience. That is what we are aiming for. Next Level Live 2023. Link is in the show notes.
If you're like Kevin and you love self-improvement but also like to party, Next Level Live is for you. The keg will be out back. I'm joking. I'm just kidding. No, there won't be any alcohol. No, we're kidding.
When I say party, for me, it's like I like to not be obsessed with self-improvement sometimes. That's probably the best part.
Of course. I knew that. I'm just being playful.
I know.
Okay, so you've heard a ton about group coaching. At this point, we have graduated. We will be graduating. When Group 9 is done, we will have graduated 94 individuals. There were a few groups that had more than 10 because we made promises and ended up having 11 and 12 and a couple of the groups. But Group 10, we're taking 10 people, and you can reach out. We have a 3-month payment plan. So for less than $100, if you're a listener of this show, we have a specific promo code for 30% off. Reach out to Kevin at nextleveluniverse.com or Alan at nextleveluniverse.com. Say, hey, I want in on Group 10. We will give you the promo code. It is currently $138 per month with the promo code for listeners of this show only who reach out. It will be $96. So for less than $100 a month for 3 months, you can be a part of a group of peak performing, self-improvement oriented, like-minded people. Really, it is achieve more in 90 days and more importantly, be more consistent than you've ever been. The goal is to be more consistent than you've ever been. You're going to track your habits. You're going to have public accountability. You're going to have an assistant coach. You're going to have a private WhatsApp group. You're going to have Kevin and I right with you every step of the way, leading by example the very best we can. So join us. If you want to if you want a deeper dive into self-improvement than just this podcast, now is the time. It's totally affordable for a reason. We hope you join us. It's a hell of a program.
Yes, it is. Next Level Nation tomorrow for episode number 1275. So many relationships fail because of this. I have a really fun story from date weekend with my lovely wife. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. We are grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.